In today's video, we're going to talk about virtual CFO services and what exactly is it? So welcome. If you are new to me, my name is Krista Tyus. I am an enrolled agent by the Internal Revenue Service. And I also have a program called Tax and Accounting Clients on Demand that teaches tax professionals, bookkeepers, CPAs, accountants, and enrolled agents how to utilize social media and grow a six-figure virtual tax and accounting firm. So if you want to check that out, I'm going to put some resources below that you can look at later. So if you are a CPA, an accountant, or bookkeeper, or an enrolled agent, and this is your first time to my content, to my YouTube channel, welcome. I'm super excited to have you. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and share this video, right? All right, so we're going to talk about virtual CFO services. What in the world is it? How do you do it? How do you sell it? You know, we're just going to go through the entire nuances of CFO services so you guys can really walk away and feel confident knowing exactly what it is. And if you wanted to offer it as a service, you definitely can. So first things first is that I want to talk about the organizational structure first. Typically, a CFO or a chief financial officer is typically seen in a Fortune 500 company and larger organizations. So I do want to go over the standard or the formal organizational structure when you're thinking about a CFO, but that still doesn't negate the fact that you're going to be able to offer it to your small business, because most of us, most accountants like me, we're just normal enrolled agents. We're normal CPAs and accountants and tax professionals, and we aren't working with Fortune 500 companies. We aren't working with companies that have tens of millions of dollars, but we are servicing the everyday hardworking business owner, and they definitely can still benefit from virtual CFO services. So let's just get this organizational structure out the way so you really can start to conceptualize the roles and the descriptions of each role so you know how to, communicate it to your clients even further, okay? So let's start from the bottom to the top, okay? So the very first thing that you guys are all familiar with are bookkeepers, right? The bookkeeper, it's more so just compliance. So you are, syncing the transactions into QuickBooks, you're categorizing all the transactions, you're helping generate the financial reports, you are reconciling the bank accounts, right? So this is all of the compliance work that the bookkeeper does. All businesses need bookkeeping, right? All businesses need compliance work. Now, as the business grows, it's going to need certain key staff in place, accounting staff in place, to really help them manage their accounting processes. So one of those key people as a business is making more revenue, has more employees, is what's called a staff accountant, right? So the staff accountant typically handles, more complex transactions throughout the bookkeeping function. So the staff accountant may post journal entries. They may do the month-end close or the year-end close. Typical accounting work that the bookkeeper normally doesn't know how to do or they don't handle, right? So this is especially for, like I said, a business that has more money, that has more employees. They typically have more transactions, right? Then we get up to the third row, which is the controller. Now, the controller does exactly what their name is. They control the accounting process, right? So the controller protects the assets by establishing, monitoring, and enforcing internal controls. So again, you're getting up to more of a bigger company. Control work can be for any organization, but typically when you see this organizational structure, as you go up in rank, typically the bigger the business is. Because what you're going to find for most businesses, they're going to have probably one person that handles a lot of these functions, right? And so now we're going to get into talking about the CFO. So the CFO is the chief financial officer, and really their primary role is strategic growth. They're looking at all facets of an organization, of a company, and they're breaking it down to really see how can we track and measure our key performance indicators that's actually going to allow this company to grow, right? So how can we help this company make more revenue, earn more revenue, net more revenue, right? How can we help this company become more efficient with their processes? How can we help this company strategically grow through team, right? Through sourcing better vendors, putting in certain, policies and procedures that's actually going to help manage the growth of the business. So let's now break that down and talk about specifically what CFO does. All right, guys. So when you're thinking about offering CFO services, I want to go over really the holistic viewpoint that I like to take when I'm working with my CFO service clients. I like to look at several aspects of their business, and this is what the CFO typically does. So the very first aspect is the planning process. The planning process is where you're really assisting your business client with formulating the strategic initiatives that's really going to propel growth for their business, okay? When you get to the operations, this is where you're going to be overseeing the company's processing systems. You're also going to be managing some part of their accounting process, human resources, investor relations, legal, tax, and treasury departments. You're going to be maintaining a very connected relationship with any third parties that they have business with, right? Such as their legal team, their insurance, because you are kind of acting like the financial liaison for this business client, okay? Next up is the financial aspect. When you're thinking about the financial information of a business are written here, you're going to be overseeing the issuance of financial information. So if their tax accountant issues a K-1 schedule or a 941 or 940, your job is to look at that information and to make sure that it's correct, spot any discrepancies. You're also going to be reporting financial results to all of key management. Depending on the size of the business, you could be reporting to board of directors or just the management team your findings when you're going through this process. The fourth one here is risk management, right? And I have written here that the CFO is going to understand and mitigate key elements of the company's risk profile, right? So you're going to be really understanding, how can we report risk issues? How can we monitor all open legal issues for our client? How can we construct and monitor reliable control systems to mitigate any risk, any exposure, maybe to, employee theft, something like that. So this is where you're helping the company identify and manage those risk management. Funding, right? That's a huge part of your CFO job description. This could be monitoring cash balances and cash forecasts. We're actually going to talk about that in just a second. This can also be arranging for debt financing and equity financing, right? It's not uncommon for the CFO, for instance, if it's a tech startup company, to really play a key and instrumental role in helping their clients secure funding, helping them craft their term sheets so they can receive investor funding. Now, the last one here are third parties. So this is where you're really going to help your clients and you're going to maintain the banking relationships that they have. You're going to represent the company with investment bankers as well as with investors, right? You're going to participate in conference calls with the investment community. So you're really taking an active role when you are thinking about the CFO. You are really, like I said, the financial liaison of this business. So anything financial, you are going to be taking a part of, right? So if your company, your business client wants to obtain a loan, right? You're going to help them figure out the best strategies, the best capital needs that is best for them, right? If your company is in debt, you're going to help them restructure their debt. You're going to put them on a debt management plan. So this is where the CFO, I really like to look at it as a holistic viewpoint because it's not just, the finances. It's really looking at the business at a holistic standpoint that's actually going to help the business grow, right? You're growing and you're implementing strategic growth for the business. Now, some of the things that you're going to be doing as a CFO is cash management and growth strategies. So let's talk about cash management. So cash management, a big part of this is just forecasting, right? And especially now, businesses are becoming more and more uncertain on how much cash do they really have and how long it's actually going to last, right? So you as a CFO can come in and do a very strategic and very meticulous forecasting for them and really do a full annual cycle of spend, not just look at 13 weeks out, but really look to see what does this business spend in a year, and based upon what they have coming in, based upon what we project to the future, how much money and what is their ebb and flow with their cash flow, right? To really help them manage their cash flow better, therefore that they can manage their operations a lot better. You're going to help them eliminate unnecessary spending. So this is huge because I personally worked with hundreds of business owners that have really unnecessary spending on their P&L right within their business. And you as a CFO, you know, you're going to be able to get in there and see real world spending habits that just aren't serving your business client to the highest capacity. So you're going to bring that awareness. You're going to help them strategically eliminate this unnecessary spending so that they can therefore have greater net profits, therefore have greater cash flow. Okay. You're going to help them improve credit and collection process, which is super important. This is the accounts receivable function, because if they don't have proper procedures and policies in place when it comes to their AR, they could be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table, right? So if their customers aren't paying on time, that's going to create a cash flow issue. If their customers are delinquent, that's creating a cash flow issue, right? So it really needs to be tightened, their credit and collection process, so they can improve cash flow, therefore improve the growth of the business. Finally, negotiate payment arrangements with vendors. You know, if your business client is paying bills too soon, right? If they're not holding on to cash as long as possible or negotiating favorable terms, this can also negatively affect cash flow. It can negatively affect the money in the bank that your client has. So you as a CFO, you're looking at these strategies when it comes to cash management, and you're helping your clients make strategic decisions that's going to make and save them more money. The next one down here is just growth strategies, right? CFO services is for any business, no matter what stage they're in, if they want to grow, right? If they have a desire to grow, they will want a CFO, right? Because the bookkeeper, when you look at the bookkeeper is after the fact. They've already, you know, they're going through transactions that have already happened, and they're issuing the profit and loss and the balance sheet and maybe the cash flow statement to their business client, but their business client has no clue, no idea what to do with that information. And actually, that's not the only information that they need to actually make strategic decisions. So you as a CFO, you're actually going to come in and, like I said, look at the business in a holistic standpoint to see, like, hey, where do we need to improve upon? You know, what are our key performance indicators? And I'm going to do a separate video just on KPIs for you guys. You're actually going to look to see, you know, what's the best way that we should allocate our capital, right? Which is just, how should we spend this money, right? At the end of the day, how and what should we be spending money on? Your business client, unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, they do not know, right? They're just thinking off the top of their head what they feel they should be spending money on. You as a CFO, you're actually going to get in here and look at their business from a holistic viewpoint and understand all of the moving parts of their business that actually drives and facilitates growth. Therefore, you're going to be able to properly educate them on how they should be allocating their capital, how they should be allocating their capital, okay? Now, some of the other key strategies, growth strategies, or KPIs that you can look at is sales comp strategy, pricing strategies. These are all very important. Now, when you're looking at different businesses, there are going to be very specific KPIs that your business client will want to track. That is the indicator for success for them. Now, yes, there are some common ones, right? So we're going to, like I said, do a whole video on KPIs, because we could talk about KPIs to the wee mornings. But I wanted to give you an overview on what virtual CFO services is, what you're going to be doing. You're really acting as a financial liaison of a business. You're helping, and you're sitting down with your business client and you're saying, hey, what's important for you? Where do you want to grow this business? How much more do you want to grow this business? How much more revenue do you want to make? How many employees do you need to have additionally to support that type of growth? What type of reports do you need to see in order to facilitate growth, right? You're really understanding as they see it, how they want to grow their business, and you're helping them create those KPIs. You're helping them track and measure what's important to them. You're looking at their business at a holistic standpoint to eliminate any unnecessary spending, to really improve upon their collection and credit processes, and most importantly, their payment arrangements with their vendors, right? So you're really strategically looking at their business to say, hey, we need to eliminate this, or we need to restructure this so you can have greater net profit, so you can have greater cash flow, and all of this is going to flow succinctly. Now, when you're talking about delivery of your CFO services, I created this report, right? And this is a CFO report. Then this is a quarterly report. When you're thinking about your CFO services, this is how you want to deliver your CFO service, right? So If you're a bookkeeper, you're familiar with giving your client like the profit and loss, the balance sheet, and so forth. As a CFO, again, you're looking at all of these moving parts of the business. So you're gonna make sure that it's compiled neatly into a report that your client can clearly understand and that you can clearly articulate to your client. So I created this for me and my clients. It's a CFO report. It's a sample report from a real business, right? And it helps you compile all of this information so your client, you can go through your CFO strategy or weekly check-in, right? So you can deliver your CFO services really depending on how frequent your client wants to see this information, right? Ideally, the more frequent, the more, the better, right? But at least you want to shoot for, if your client doesn't want weekly CFO services, at least monthly CFO services, or you can do a quarterly, if you're doing that one-off thing. But ideally, you want to lock in your client on a weekly basis, sometimes daily, right? And not for nothing monthly, okay? So the CFO services is really going to take every aspect that you, or all the KPIs. Typically, you take at least about upwards to 20 KPIs. It could be more, it could be less. And this is where you're taking all this information and you're helping them track and measure what's important to them, right? You're helping them keep an eye on what's working and what's not working, and you're helping them spot discrepancies most importantly. So for instance, say if you're doing CFO services for a restaurant and you notice based upon certain trends in the sales of the restaurant that food sales were drastically decreasing, but alcohol sales were increasing. The restaurant just, utilizing a static profit and loss, they don't really see that trend analysis. They don't really see what's actually changing within their business time over time. You as a CFO can actually spot certain trends within the business that are areas of opportunities, right? So you can say, hey, you guys have been trending, 10% higher in supplies over the past 2 to 3 months. That's higher than normal. What's going on? Like, why are our supply costs increasing? They're normal, right? That's going to actually help them eliminate unnecessary spending, spot discrepancies or areas of opportunities, maybe to spot employee theft, right? So you as a CFO, you're taking this data, making it meaningful for your client, and you're helping them track and analyze this process throughout. So what do you think about today's video? Let me know your questions below. I'm going to be doing a CFO series for you guys. We're going to be talking about KPIs, pricing CFO, the whole gamut. But if you want to dive deep and actually start offering CFO services, I have some additional resources below this video. Go ahead and check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.